And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. We got a solar flare. A new sunspot has formed. Otherwise, pretty low levels of activity. And the sunspot we're talking about is up here. You can see some plasma reorienting itself there. There was no coronal mass ejection associated with that. And we'll get in depth throughout the video. Here's a close-up in 171 angstroms. Fantastic imagery there in ionized iron from the Solar Dynamics Observatory. Spectacular imagery. Here's a composite. This is 1700 angstroms, as well as 171. And we'll also show you the magnetic fields first, 304 angstroms and 171. Some additional detail there on the filamentary behavior. Again, no coronal mass ejections associated with that solar flare. And here's the field progression. You'll see sunspot 2852 forming right here. The most magnetically organized region of the Earth-facing portion of the Sun. Continuing on, here's a star chart. If you're wondering the path the Sun will take across the sky, that's this yellow line, known as the ecliptic. You may see Jupiter and Saturn up there, dominating the nighttime sky. Did you sleep well yesterday? It was a new moon. We'll advance the solar system imagery here 7 days. As Earth swings past Jupiter, and Mercury and Venus are playing catch-up. The radio flux still at only 74 solar flux units. There's the 1-year chart. The black line is the radio flux. The red line is the sunspot number. And we don't have any NOAA forecasted geomagnetic storms or unrest in the future, at least the near future. And let's look at global seismicity. Here's a 90-day bar graph from volcanodiscovery.com, a convenient graphic to show you the past 3 months. So we did see the largest quakes actually occurred here out at the end of the Aleutian Islands. So westernmost Alaska was the site of the largest quakes here. No real major quakes here over the past 24. There was a deep one at Indonesia, a 4.6 magnitude at over 120 kilometers depth. There's one of those large quakes. It's a 5.4, 223 kilometers southeast of Attu Station. And only 1 minute later, there was a deep quake at the Solomon Islands. On the other side of the equator there, in the central Pacific Ocean. That one at 114 kilometers depth. Continuing up the list here. If we leave anything out, just leave us a comment. Thanks to everybody who leaves comments. We do read them all. So this is the largest of the past 24 here, this 5.5 at the Macquarie Island region. A very desolate portion of the world there in between New Zealand and Antarctica. Somehow I don't think that's a highly populated area. There was also a 5.0 in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. What the heck is this? Some kind of military operations? Experimental explosion there caused a 3.9. Yowzers. 3.9 magnitude earthquake triggered by an experimental explosion. Okay. Tonga saw a deep quake at 4.6 magnitude, 150 kilometers depth. Now let's take a look at volcanoes. Here's some spectacular imagery of Mount Etna. Check out the volcanic ash plume that it produced. And that is indeed from yesterday. That's actually from today. Excellent. Anyway, Etna producing another paroxysm, lava fountaining. High levels of activity there on Sicily. Lava flows were produced, lava fountaining. might not have reached the same intensity as during the exceptionally violent preceding the 31st of July / August 1st paroxysm. A series of particularly strong explosions of large bursting lava bubbles from the crater that generated shock waves that rattled windows and doors in more than 15 distance. I have no idea what that means. 15 kilometers distance? I have no idea. Maybe they're only 15 meters from the caldera. Karimsky may be erupting, but the volcanic ash is not identifiable in satellite imagery. That's the one of the Kamchatka Peninsula volcanoes. Shiveluch has been extruding some viscous lava. Also, Dolphin 2, the lava dome, has mostly collapsed. Chirinkatan in the northern Kurils in between the Kamchatka Peninsula and Japan produced a 9,000-foot plume of volcanic ash, which is extending to the west and southwest of the volcano. Aviation code raised to orange for that volcano. Semeru on East Java, 14,000-foot ash plume produced by it. Popocatépetl producing things like incandescent lava bombs. Please don't set up a campsite at the base of the caldera, at the base of the mountain. Anyway, it's been producing about a 20,000-foot ash plume over central Mexico. Sangay, 20,000-foot ash plume over Ecuador as it explodes. Revenador in that same country, 15,000-foot ash plume as it explodes. Sabancaya, 24,000-foot ash plume produced through explosive activity over Peru. Villarrica in central Chile remains active. Near constant incandescence continues to be observed in the summit crater, indicating rise of magma inside the volcano's conduits detected by infrared cameras. Glowing emissions of gas and steam accompany the activity. Nevados de Chilean exploding, producing a 13,000-foot ash plume over central Chile. Please don't pole vault the caldera. Please do visit our links. Please do support the channel. We need your assistance for this channel to continue to exist, remain publicly visible, and so on. You can find our links at smAsho.com. Thanks to everybody who does support the channel. GOES X-ray Flux here. Going back to the sun-facing suite of instruments on the GOES 16, we saw a C-class flare, and that was associated with that plasma reorganization that we showed earlier. No proton spikes. No surprise to this channel. Here's the GOES magnetometer, and the Earth is now in a North Pole-oriented current sheet. I was actually surprised by how quickly it arrived. And I won't get into the physics of it on this video either. Here is the visualization of it. Earth now in a North Pole-oriented current sheet. So you can see it here in green. This green area, that's a North Pole magnetism current sheet. This is a South Pole magnetism current sheet. And we can expect to see some spiky, sawtoothed readings here on the GOES magnetometer. Keep in mind, this data here is like 9 hours old. So Earth is most assuredly in the green region there, the North Pole current sheet. Here's the line of sight ecliptic plane field plot. And we actually featured this imagery in yesterday's thumbnail. Welcome to the North Pole-oriented current sheet. Here's the line of sight coronal hole plot showing the sun's B field in blue. We've got coronal holes here in the in the southern and northern hemisphere. Neither of them are trans-equatorial coronal holes, so they're not reaching up to the solar equator. They're staying closer to their respective poles. Likelihood of solar flares has gone up a little bit here. Again, we already did see a C-class flare. It is a large active region there. And we're showing old data here for some reason. We'll get rid of that entirely. Likelihood of solar flares slightly higher with a sunspot, sunspot 2852. Planetary K-index at 2. Global geomagnetic calm conditions. And next, the real-time solar wind. Give it a minute. Fairly uninteresting here. Looks like another weak coronal hole wind stream has just begun. only making it up to about 377 kilometers per second there. Current conditions just below that. 373 kilometers per second is the current solar wind speed. Solar wind density, 12 protons per cubic centimeter. And you can see up here the BT-BZ has moved into positive territory. So total field of 7, BZ of positive 3. Fairly unexciting on the solar wind front. Let's take a look at the magnetohydrodynamic pressure according to the space weather modeling framework surrounding planet Earth. And that's 4 hours of data, fairly homogeneous pressure here over the past 4 hours. Next, geospace delta B changes to Earth's B field. We showed you the sun's. Here are the Earth's B fields, or at least changes in it. Also 4 hours of data. And if you haven't seen our video entitled Geomagnetic Mayhem, go check it out. You can find all of our videos at youtube.com/smashamash/playlists. Once again, congratulations on realizing that our channel exists. And thanks everybody who tuned in. Please tell your friends, foes, science noobs, and science pros about the channel, as we don't think the algorithms are being particularly advantageous to our operations. So here's the video I was just talking about, Geomagnetic Mayhem. Smash and Eugene square off. Who's the geomagnetic jerk? We've got ideas. We've also got a BitChute channel. Look for more exclusive content coming there soon. Thanks to our patrons. Big changes coming in September. smAsho.com. And thanks to our patrons. Our patrons are the true source of funding for the content. We make just this side of nothing to put the videos on YouTube. So tell your friends and foes about the channel. Consider becoming a patron, patreon.com/smashamash. Thanks again, patrons. Today's cosmology segment's integrated into the daily space weather video. Here's the apod.nasa.gov page, the astronomy picture of the day, showing Perseids. Yeah, it's a meteor shower. We don't spend too much time talking about meteor showers. The Perseids is one where the meteors come out of the constellation of Perseus. Anyway, feel free to pause it if you need to read the caption. We've added some new merch on the merch site. You can find links to this at smashamash.com. Smashamash.org will relocate you. Resistance is fertile, so respect existence or expect resistance. And welcome to the Neo-Renaissance, smashamash.com. We've made changes, lots of changes. Also, check out the forum. You can find links to our merch shop right there, as well as the forum right on the homepage. Again, smashamash.org will redirect you. You can even find links to our Discord channel. And by the way, I get notifications if you send a Discord message. That's your permanent invite link. You need an invite to a Discord channel. Just click on that, and it'll take you to our Discord channel, which looks like this. I've been writing the daily space weather video titles on there. The answer to life, the universe, and everything is 42. If you've read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you'd already know this. Today's featured object is number 42 on the Neil Gehrels Swift Bat X-ray Observatory. Here's what the page looks like. If you click on number 42, it's the SMCX1, the X-ray source. It's a low-mass X-ray binary/neutron star located in the small Magellanic Cloud. And look at how cyclic it is. It's very cyclical. Perhaps it's an eclipsing binary. It certainly looks like one according to this chart. And you can see it's got quite a range of X-ray flux here over the past 16 years. The lower left is the 30-day chart. Let's take a look at this in some frequencies. So here's the location of the small Magellanic Cloud. This is infrared light, and you can see that it's well off of the galactic plane, and we'll zoom way in to SMCX1. This is infrared light from the 2 mass, and there it is in infrared light. Let's take a look at it in some other spectra here. How about optical? There it is on the DSS2. It's SMCX1. And here it is in ultraviolet. You can see it's a pretty significant ultraviolet light source. We'll zoom out to show you the small Magellanic Cloud, if it'll load. There we go. And last but not least, there is a false color X-ray image of it. You can see it's a very bright X-ray source, very consistent and very consistently cyclical. Small Magellanic Cloud X1. Again, at the Neil Gehrels Swift Observatory, it's number 42. I apologize, it's a high mass X-ray binary, not a low mass X-ray binary. SMC-X1, that's today's cosmology segment, integrated to the daily space weather video. If you haven't seen cosmology segments before, check it out on our playlists, youtube.com/smashamash/playlists. There is a lot of material under that link. Next, looking at electron flux surrounding planet Earth, we see some minor charging hazards here over Mexico and the north-central Pacific. No big deal. Here's a one-year chart of the relativistic electrons surrounding planet Earth. This is measured at the F ionosphere layer, by the way, at 300 kilometers of altitude or so by the GOES-16. Here's a 3-day chart from the GOES-16. And we've seen electron flux cratered during this series of weak coronal hole wind streams. As we forecasted, here is the NOAA forecast for electron flux, and you can see expecting a little flat levels here. I would expect this to be up here coming soon when the coronal hole wind streams subside. Although there are some more on the way as well. We won't try to forecast that in this video. Here are Earth Van Allen belts. We show it daily. There are the inner ones. And you're looking at altitudes of things in miles. Here's the total electron content. Your GPS has to communicate through a lot of electrons, especially around the equator at noontime. Here's a visualization of the total electron content. Dense electron regions cause GPS errors. And we've actually demonstrated the accuracy of this by doing bike rides with an average speed of like 10,000 miles per hour because of electron flux and GPS errors. Everything looking pretty organized at the moment. Now let's take a look at the F ionosphere layer located at 300 kilometers of altitude. We're going to look at the real megahertz, and then we're going to look at the anomaly. So this is the real-time data here. Not real-time data, it's the last day. And each color blob represents 1 megahertz, millions of vibrations per second of frequency. Anyway, most anomalies associated around the South Atlantic anomaly, which is now over the South American continent. And you can see a great indication of where it is. It's right about there, kind of right in the center of the South American continent. And here's the anomaly map. It's showing you anomalously high frequency regions in blue, anomalously low frequency regions in red. This moment here is not looking particularly anomalous. That's from 1045 Universal Time. Things are pretty clear in the ionosphere right now, nothing too noteworthy. Here's the latest image, looking pretty normal there at 1045 Universal Time. By the way, we do regularly stream live to Twitch. If you weren't aware, twitch.tv/smashamash. Get us to 100 followers over there, as we don't seem to be picking up a lot of traction on Twitch, and we do regularly stream live, excuse me. And we'll do it once again today for the meteorology segment. And so we've recorded another fantastic meteorology segment. That's a separate playlist. Make sure you check it out. Let's do bonus features. And first bonus feature is the El Teide ground-based observatory data. El Teide, Spain's National Sunspot Observatory Hydrogen Alpha Telescope. Some prominences around the south as well as the northeast. And of course, the area to keep an eye on would be Sunspot 2852. Here's some additional bonus features for you. It's the NASA GOES-16 SUVI thematic map. It's almost like cheating. It shows our well-educated viewers all of the features, like filaments in orangish red, and you can see this flaring region here. A little bit of pink showing up there, indicating an increase in the X-ray flux. Next, high-res imagery. And there's Sunspot 2852. It could be growing another umbra there, which would increase the likelihood of major solar flares. We'll press refresh on that. There's the field environment. So there is a possibility that this will turn into a beta-class sunspot. There could be an umbra growing there. I see a little bit of a darkening happening, so that's something to keep an eye on. And when I say eye on, well, the pun is intentional. Here's a composite image. This is 211 and 131 angstroms. I thought this showed quite a bit of variation, so we included it in the video. Let us know if you have a favorite composite wavelength on helioviewer.org. And here's 304 angstroms ionized helium alone. Probably the best wavelength at showing plasma filaments. And you get a great view of that little plasma reorientation happening there, just south of Sunspot 2852. And here's a close-up in my personal favorite wavelength, 171 angstroms ionized iron from the Solar Dynamics Observatory. In any case, thanks for tuning in to the Daily Space Weather. Tell your friends and foes, science noobs and science pros about the channel, and may that solar wind be at your back.